one of my favorite all-time SEO gurus, and I will use the word guru.
Google has to process like in the neighborhood of trillions of spam pages every year, and every single one of them is a default WordPress install.
Generally that they've never done anything.
Not thinking of artificial intelligence in the way that Google is looking at the content rank. I'm sorry, they're going to be out of business very, very quickly. Quite frankly, I mean, people have been proclaiming the death knell of SEO for some time now, but really, this is the final nail in like the old way of doing it coffin for sure. You are going to lose. You cannot compete with a company that makes $100 billion profit every year and has the smartest programmers in the world. You are a fool to think otherwise. If you go fix their page speed from orange to green, don't expect a huge ranking boost from them.
So SEO is dead.
Hey, I'm Matt Coffey. I'm the proud owner of Profit Engines. We're a media and marketing solutions partner. I've been at this for over 14 years. I've built and sold a multi-million-dollar agency. I've cracked the Inc. 5000 list. I put 7 figures in the bank. I've done all the things that have created an expert level of understanding of marketing and sales systems. I've worked with over 1,000 different clients on different sizes and different shapes all throughout my career and helped them successfully move their business through these phases of implementation, growth to success. Profit Engines is really about delivering sustainable profit, boosting revenue, and driving growth for your business. So let's take it to the new heights for you.
Well, will you looky here who popped up on the radar screen? Josh Bachynski, one of my favorite all-time SEO gurus, and I will use the word guru because it's better than doo-doo. And I think the important thing is that you, amongst Barry and all the rest of these people that have been in the SEO world, you still, to me, have got the biggest gravitas I've ever seen. And I mean that in a nice way, because you have really captured, which I think most people don't really realize, the essential part of this business, which is simplicity. You get to the point. And I think that's what most people miss out. It's that SEO and all the things that we've done over the last umpteen years, in fact, I think I've been at this for now 15 years, comes down to making decisions quickly, doing things efficiently, and not dilly-dallying on the small stuff. So welcome aboard. Tell me what's going on in the Josh Bachynski world today.
Well, thanks, Matt, for having me on. As we were talking just before the show, as I was mentioning, I'm still running my SEO mastermind group called SEO University. And I've been running that for about 10 years now. And I can't believe the time has flown by like that. I'm also running and CEO of my new company, SEO Copilot, which is what I think we're going to talk about today. We were talking before the show, AI is crazy in what it can allow you to do. We were talking about how the emails we're sending back and forth are not really us writing it. It's the AIs talking to each other, which I did a whole slew of podcasts last year and the year before. And I said, that's what's going to happen, right? That's the most available thing for large language models to do is to write content. And that's what people are using it for in the SEO world, is to write content. But they don't realize that if you program it correctly, you can get it to analyze content as well. And I have our SEO Copilot, and that's what it is. It's an SEO Copilot. It's your Copilot. It's analyzing millions of competitor analyses for difficulty. It's analyzing thousands of lines of code to see what code you should be using. It's analyzing thousands of semantic keywords and building you models that Google needs for you to rank on page. And it does all this for you at a fraction of like a 1% of the cost that people were used to pay for on page. If you have a serious researcher and writer at the agency level, that's what the tool is. It's for all of SEO, but I also want to help the agencies. And 1% of the cost and 1% of the time, from 20 hours per page, we're down to like 20 minutes. So it's pretty nuts, pretty crazy time we live in. So I'd love to dive into it. Let's talk about it.
So SEO is dead. Let's start there.
Yes, quite frankly, I mean, people have been proclaiming the death knell of SEO for some time now. But really, this is the final nail in like the old way of doing it coffin for sure. For two reasons. One, and both of them, the single reason is artificial intelligence. And I'll tell you why in two ways. One, the artificial intelligence that we are using, that we can rebuild to outsource. And people are always outsourcing writing and quite often analysis to either high-level professionals or low-level professionals, respectively. But now we're outsourcing that to AI, which does it much more efficiently, much faster, and in a way that human beings really never could. There's no way, no matter how good you are at SEO, and I've been doing it for 25 years, no matter how good you are at SEO, you can't go through 10,000 lines of HTML to see what the machine-learned statistical average is for the page type you're supposed to be using. No, we SEOs just break it down into dumb categories that, quite frankly, are a little simple and not representative of what Google does at all. We're like, we have a review page and an e-commerce page and an information page, a blog page. That's all bullcrap. That's not how Google looks at it, right? They have a giant database of machine-learned HTML, and they're like, okay, for this query, people want this kind of HTML. For this query, people want this kind of HTML. There's no way humans could do that. So artificial intelligence has reduced the time for analyses, reduced the time for, and also for high quality level generation. We're doing human level quality content that is 99.9% factual because I adopted AI at a very early age, very early on. I was able to use my my graduate level credentials to get the private demo of GPT before it was even Chat GPT. This is like 6 years ago now. And I've been steadily using it and progressively programming with it since then. The second way AI has changed SEO completely, and SEO is dead, is that that's all Google is using too. People still think stop words is a thing and that links are a thing. Wrong. Links aren't even one of the top 3 ranking algorithms anymore. They've fully admitted that. Multiple Google employees have admitted that. Our scientific testing in SEO University has confirmed that. The biggest ranking factors and where Google is employing artificial intelligence completely is in quality, on-page content, on-site content. Those are the biggest ranking factors now, and all that is AI all day, every day, as far as Google's concerned. So if those people out there who are trying to do SEO are not using AI to generate the content and analyze the competitors, and not thinking of artificial intelligence in the way that Google is looking at the content and ranking it, I'm sorry, they're going to be out of business very, very quickly.
But let's talk about traffic. Now, it's always been a popularity contest, right?
Yeah.
So whoever the prettiest girl is, they get all the attention. So what about traffic as a part of this equation? Why many of the SEO gurus, jockeys, white hat, black hat, green hat, purple hat, are screaming, hey, let's artificially put traffic through your website, your map location. The ultimate gaze of Google's eyeballs are on how important is this property based off of how you can bring traffic to it. Now, some people, and I even know one, would actually go on to Indeed, create a bunch of job profiles that link back to a website that have a random keyword identifier that bring people to search boxes that create that random keyword identifier that link back to a website. Now, I wouldn't, of course, be involved in this, but there are people who are doing certain traffic analysis strategies that would propose that this website's important because a lot of people are going to it for whatever reason. What do you think?
Yes. This is nothing new. People have been doing this job board trick or variations of it for 11, 12 years at least. And a lot of people have done testing. My group has done testing. Other groups have done testing. And they found out there's a lot of different ranking factors and algorithms that are watching everything to do with traffic. And if you've also perused the leaked API documentation that Google accidentally leaked, we're not sure if it's accidental or not, but for 2 days on their public GitHub, the private repo of their internal Alphabet APIs, including all of the ranking factors, were leaked. And if you check that, you'll see confirmation of various ways of people using traffic, tracking traffic, things like that. Here's the problem with all those things. Google is really, really good at detecting fake traffic. And every single test I've done, and I've done a lot, both the thing you mentioned and about 20 other ways of doing it. 20 other ways of doing that, and 20 other ways of doing all the traffic things, which you've only mentioned like 1 out of 10 that are ranking factors. Google is, at the end of the day, very, very good at detecting fake traffic, or bot traffic. No matter how good your cell phone stack is, no matter how many you got in there, no matter how good your CTR bot is, Google is going to find that eventually. If you make a technology bet against Google, you are going to lose. You are going to lose. You cannot compete with a company that makes $100 billion profit every year and has the smartest programmers in the world. You are a fool to think otherwise. As you mentioned, I don't beat around the bush. And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to see people lose their businesses, because I get these emails from people, Josh, I bought this CTR bot, or I bought these links, or I did this. My business is being destroyed. Can you help me? And quite often I have to say, no, I'm sorry. Like, do you have enough money to pay me, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to fix this? No. You're already below the red line? Well, I'm not doing this for free. I can give you some suggestions, but you need some serious help. You waited too long before you went to the hospital. You waited too long before you went to the doctor, right? So instead of using, so people might be like, well, Josh, how do I get this then? I need these signals to rank. I agree. Yes, you do. Traffic is a very important ranking factor in the way you mentioned, in multiple other ways. How do you do it? Well, how about the white hat way? How about building 100 pages a month and building up a huge site that you've already used the AI to analyze the low-hanging fruit, the most easy keywords to rank for, that you would be surprised at this day and age that there are still huge hidden gem keywords because people are talking to their phone, and so the keyword query is really weird, or people are using the autocomplete, so the keyword query is very weird. Everyone likes to think they know exactly what the users are typing. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's all changed, right? And so if you're using artificial intelligence, namely mine, SEO Copilot, to analyze millions of competitors, we have over 1.6 million records in our database right now and over 1,000 users. If you use that tool to find the lowest hanging fruit, we can guarantee to you a 60 to 70% indexation rate and about a 50 to 40% page 1 rate, and a 30 to 20% spot 1 to 5 rate, if you're following the tool correctly and you do all the things that you're supposed to do. And then just do the math. So where are you getting your traffic? You're getting your traffic from Google. You're getting your traffic from ranking in Google for actual keywords that are actually going to make you money, because that's how our system works. It puts up the ones that are easiest and make the most money. We're not trying to rank you for eight word long tail keywords that no one types in. One person types in a year. Look, I got you rankings on an 8-word long tail keyword. Great, but that's not making anyone any money, you or your boss or your client, and you're going to lose at the end of the day, because as Matt aptly mentioned at the beginning, it's all about efficiency. I have a controversial statement. Let's see if you think it's controversial, Matt. You've probably heard me say it before. Ranking number 1 is not how you win at SEO. SEO has nothing to do about ranking number 1. That's not how you win at SEO. How you win at SEO is ranking number 1 faster, easier, better, more efficiently, for a long term that's not risky, in a way that you can iterate upon. That's those 6 things. That's how you win at SEO. SEO is incorrectly lumped into marketing. It's not. If you wanted to talk about business philosophy and where they lump in SEO and how they think about it from an executive level position, they lump it into marketing. Wrong again. It is a business process play. It is all about business efficiency. And the most efficient SEO plan is the one that wins, right? If you have to spend $5,000 a month on newspaper links to rank for a keyword that only makes you $100 a month, with 20 other competitors who've been doing this for 25 years and already accrued all those signals, you are going to lose, right? You have to get efficient. You have to use AI. You have to use AI to analyze all these things, find the low-hanging fruit, the gem keywords, find the gem few hundred keywords out of the 20,000 keywords you got the AI to generate for you. And you need to build a bigger site, faster, better, easier. And give Google what they want. Make high-level quality content. For like, Josh, I can't afford a writer who can do all this research to know, I can't afford to do 24 studies. But with AI, you can. With AI, you can. With AI, you can get all the expert tips and tricks in 20 minutes, right? Your writer who's like, well, I've never written on this before. I have to do 20 hours of research. Now they can do it in 20 minutes. It's not required for that anymore, right? So, yeah, I mean, I see a huge revolution coming. I see a huge AI revolution coming. And I hope people listening can jump on the bandwagon at the right time, which is now.
Yes, and I want to ask you real-world applications. So, like you and I walk through our town, we look at that place, that business, we look at this business over here, and those businesses sometimes come to us and say, hey, Johnny Marketer, how you doing? How about you help me with some SEO, right? And I'm not asking about the lowball, let's just say, pizza joint on the corner. I'm talking about, let's say, a business that has a relatively okay budget, has been doing marketing. What should they expect to pay today? What should they expect to pay for a general, like a real business that has generating, let's say, whatever, a couple million, 5 million, whatever, somewhere a real small general business that you see on your walk through your town? What should they expect to pay in order to get these results to help them solve these problems, which are generally that they've never done anything?
Right. Yeah. That's a great question. I can answer it in a couple ways. I always charge per the hour, right? And for a number of years now, I've been charging for consulting $1,000 US per hour. If you want to call me on the phone and have an hour conversation, I would usually charge $1,000 for that. I might lowball it to 500. For whatever reason, if I can use your content on my stream or something like that. For my team, however, they bill out at 100 US per hour. So a normal price there historically has been 100 to 150. But the economy is changing. There's been inflation lately, although I think it's turning around now because I've seen some markers of that. Luckily, thank goodness. So what I would do is actually I'm going to ask ChatGPT. And I'm going to see what ChatGPT thinks the price for SEO should be right now. Do you want to do this experiment? Do you mind if we do this experiment?
I don't mind it at all. I was just in general wondering what you thought of the market, because we see a lot of, let's just call it what it is. There is a lot of marketing bros out there today who are young, who are aggressive, and are running either Facebook ads or whatever they're doing, right? They're kind of saying, hey, I can get you X, Y, and Z results for X, Y, and Z cost. I don't really follow the marketing bros to the end conclusion to go test their theories out, because I don't think it's really necessary. But I'm curious, just if you were to go to a customer, to what they should expect today. It was a reasonable value of what they should pay. And then we could reverse engineer maybe how we could come to that conclusion on what would be the right things to be doing for them, either hourly, which is sort of where you're taking this, or task-wise, right, which is there's certain tasks to be involved, so that someone maybe watching this could go to a customer and say, I know Josh, and I know his team can support your challenge to try and find yourself in Google. So we're going to come up with a plan that will be reasonable, that I can come back to you and say, hey, it's going to take 20 hours a month, which is $2,000 a month, to solve your little red wagon and make sure that it goes through on the other side so that someone can find the red wagon as opposed to the blue wagon. But you can certainly ask ChatGPT. I would be happy to do that. In fact, I'm excited to see what it would say.
Sure, okay. So let me go here to ChatGPT and I'll say, hi, ChatGPT. I'm on a podcast now with my good friend, Matt Coffey, and we're talking about SEO. And we were wondering what lately the standard SEO retainer fee is per month. What are SEOs charging these days per month? And what kind of tasks or how many hours would that include? What do you think would be reasonable for the customer to expect in that regard? Search Bing for this. If I say search Bing, it usually says search bang. So I have to spell out Bing. Search Bing.
Yes.
So, all right. ChatGPT is thinking about it, and I'll read it out for you. It says, SEO retainer fees can vary greatly based on factors such as the experience level of the provider, the complexity of the website, and the scope of work, not to mention the competitiveness of the target market. In general, monthly retainers for SEO services typically range between $500 and $5,000 per month. That's indeed what I would agree. Smaller businesses or those with less competitive markets can expect to pay between $500 and $2,500 per month. This generally covers basic SEO tasks like keyword research, content optimization, technical audits, and local SEO efforts. Mid-sized to larger businesses, or those in highly competitive industries, usually pay $2,500 to $10,000 per month. And those campaigns often involve more complex services, including national or international SEO strategies, more extensive content creation, link building, technical SEO, and conversion rate optimization. So you got it there from the horse's mouth, from Chad, my friend Chad. I call him Chad.
Well, and what's interesting is that really hasn't changed in a while. I think
No.
that's been the sort of status quo, which is
Yep.
that, and that's why I was saying like $2,000 is a pretty reasonable number
Mhm.
for an expert to spend 20 hours per month on your, let's just call it web properties, because there might be multiple things involved here. And I guess my question following that nice little soliloquy you've put together from Chad is, what do you think, from your perspective, execution tasks versus intelligent conversations of that 20 hours per month, let's say we're working on right now? What would be the split? Because you need input.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because my time is obviously I bill at a higher rate. So for me, I can't speak to anyone else, but for me, the way I do it, and the way I would recommend to my students in SEO University, not all of them do consulting. Many of them are in-house SEOs, actually. A lot of them started as junior SEOs. They moved to senior SEO, and some have even moved to marketing manager. Even two that I can think of moved to CEO. They bought shares, they bought out the company, and they became CEO. But this kind of is true for any kind of SEO you're doing. You always have to start with an audit, right? You always have to start with an analysis if it already pre-exists, or analysis of like a kind of like a SEO SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If it doesn't exist yet, they're going to be building it. So I always start with this analysis, and usually the first month's cost is my time, is me doing the analysis, doing a very in-depth 2-3 hour analysis, which I record on video and I have a full recording of, and I also provide a plan. They can join the video so we can discuss. I also have some of my top students in SEO University. They join as well. So you get really good value for your buck, and they notice things that maybe I might not notice. And I've been doing these SEO audits, for 15 years, and I've gotten, I like to say that I'm an expert at it. I've done it a lot. People who listen to my audits, they always do get benefits. I can think of like 2 audits off the top of my head of 15 years that I did everything and nothing happened. I might have missed, they had like a -100 penalty or something, who knows. Those are back in really like more of the linking penguin days, but and so I start with an analysis portion, and then I try to, and one would do well to, when selling SEO consulting services, or even if you're an in-house SEO, break down the system, have an SEO system in terms of your workflow that kind of manages customer expectations and kind of runs itself, right? That way, the CEO of the executive who's running the SEO project, so to speak, me in this case, I don't have to jump in very much, right? I already have standard operating procedures for all my employees. They're already learned up on all the SEO theories and practices. And so they can kind of just run on their own. And the interesting thing is where AI is really helping with that is before, it would take, again, 20 hours to write a single page. My writer, she would have to research things because she doesn't know anything about red sprockets or this, she doesn't know a divorce lawyer law from this or that, right? So she would obviously have to do a lot of research ahead of time, a lot of client hand-holding, a lot of stuff like that. Now with AI, we can kind of just go and just generate. We can generate dozens of pages of high-quality, good-level content, completely white-hat content, right, at a very, very low cost and a very, very, very quick time. So, I'm not saying I try to get them to that as quickly as possible. Whatever I find in the audit is what we need to fix. If it's all technical, we need to do technical. If it's all backlinking, then we need to check that out. If it's all this, it's all that. But quite frankly, content velocity, site size, site structure, site content, on-page content, query intent, query interpretation, helpful AI, make sure you have helpful content, review the review AI, which applies to all sites, whether you think you're a review site or not, the review AI applies to all sites because they want everyone to have expert tips and tricks and good content. All that's on page anyway, and all that's done by the AI. All that is greatly helped with the AI and done with the AI. And so pretty much the most important ranking factors and the most important steps in the project, not to mention the keyword research portion before we even try to rank it for any pages. I don't let the client come to me quite often and say, Josh, I want to rank for chiropractor Winnipeg because I've been a chiropractor in Winnipeg for 40 years and I know that's what they search. No, you don't. No, you don't. Keywords change all the time. It's our duty to find winning situations for them. I can't believe I have to give such an invective for this. This used to be standard operating procedure 20 years ago. Everybody would fire up some tool and find the low-hanging fruit, right? They still have to do that. We still have to go do that. And I can look here. You thought chiropractor WPG was the best one, but actually the one that makes the most money and has the most searches and the one you need to be ranking for is actually chiropractor Winnipeg, Manitoba, or chiropractor and acupuncture Winnipeg, Manitoba, or some variation, right? And they're like, wow, I never thought of that. Of course, well, you're not an SEO. It's our jobs to go in and do this research and this analysis, and our AI could go through 20 or 30,000 keywords in the space of like 5 minutes and find you hundreds of gem keywords that people just haven't thought of optimizing for, or it's a new change in searching, and so humans are now talking to their phone, and that's how the query comes out. And so, yeah, you've got to kind of manage the customer expectations, obviously. And I do, and I would suggest everyone does the most important things first, because if you go fix their page speed from orange to green, don't expect a huge ranking boost from that, right? But if their on-site structure is bad, or their internal linking is bad, or their on-page structure is bad, or they chose the wrong keywords to begin with, that's a huge, pound for pound, that's a huge ranking boost you're getting them in one move. Like all those 3-4 things, you're getting really big, nice ranking boosts. And that's why you should, of course, do those first to get them as much money as quickly as possible. So then, of course, they can keep paying you, and they can also have a much more successful business sooner, faster, better.
Great. 5th question for you. Final question for you. So my thought has always been most companies that we go to see, including our own, should basically just start over, because the fact that we're running into a domain that's been sitting there for 10 years without any activity on it has probably been built by someone who is either in kindergarten or in the first 6th grade class that taught some sort of basic HTML or a WordPress outdated plugin structure that basically is firing on all cylinders 1 out of 10. And I'm always curious, because I think I'm going through this and I'm being a little bit more maybe selfish on this question. I almost feel like we should just build from scratch based off of, hey, AI, here's my business. Here's the things I want to rank for. Build me X to get to Y. It almost feels like that should be kind of like the first step now. Aesthetics aside, because I know that's a big concern for a lot of clients, because they anticipate that people are looking at their website from a beautiful 49-inch screen in the middle of downtown Manhattan and making critiques on whether or not they should have chosen blue or light blue in their header format. But I think the question mark is, are we really thinking now that, hey, let's start from where you should be and go from there, because you'll probably be better off than trying to resurrect this dead body with one limb left on it and basically not any heart to it. Because that seems to be the issue that we're running into, is that people are very interested in having a very nice website, but that's not what solves the problem. What solves the problem is getting them revenue. And it's almost an argument that I put up to say, we don't want this. What you want is to do it correctly and start from scratch. Because reality is that now we can do it with the snap of a finger using AI. So pay the extra fee to have us do it correctly, and you'll be rewarded. What is your concern, questions, responses, and overall general theory on this?
That's a great question. I guess this is on people's minds, because I actually answered this question a number of times this week. including should I resurrect domains from the Internet Archive or the Wayback Machine or something like that. My answer is should I stay or should I go now? Should I keep this site or should I make a new one? I'm going to have a fairly revolutionary answer. I think the answer is both. With AI, you could easily generate 100 pages a month, 200 pages a month, 300 pages a month. And I'm not talking low-quality spam content. I'm talking high-quality, expert-written, eat content that is 99.9% factual. That's the age we're living in. So I'm like, why have your cake and eat it too? Do both. If people are like, I don't know, if that's blowing people's minds, I will fall back to the next position. But I'll say the first answer is the best one. I'll fall back to the second position, which is, okay, if the existing site has any current rankings on the topic you want to rank for in general, then I would save that. Fixing sites is not that hard. And if you already have some rankings in Google, if you already have some good graces with Google, they're already ranking you on page 1 for, I don't know, out of 400 queries, they're ranking 10 or 12, then keep it. We'll fix it, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? However, if the site is, that goes the same with something that you resurrect. If you resurrect it and Google indexes it right away and starts ranking, not great queries, but some queries on the topic you want to rank for, it has to be on the topic you want to rank for. If it's ranking for red apples and you want to rank best bicycles, then no, then that's not the topic you want to rank for. Google already knows this entity is about bicycles. You don't want to, or red apples, whatever. You don't, the two do not meet, right? But if it's generally in your area, and the same level of commerciality, I'll use that as an actual word. If you check the API documentation, it's an actual ranking factor. They have an integer, it's a whole number, a score for commerciality. And so it's like, it can't be this either. And this mistake gets made all the time from people making too many blogs and stuff like that. Like, you're ranking for all the informational queries on red apples, but when you try to sell red apples, you're not ranking for anything. You're like on page 4 or dead. Okay, that's not the same thing, right? So the topic you're trying to rank for is selling red apples. That level of commerciality is exact thing they call in the API documentation. If you have that already, either on the old site when you renew it or the existing site, keep it. If you don't, then do both or blow it away. Blowing it away can be dangerous. They definitely do like brands that have been around for a while. So if there's any way you can keep it, and if you are on the right topic and level of commerciality, then I would recommend keeping it. But there's no reason why you can't do both these days. Absolutely no reason. It takes 20 minutes to register a domain name and another 10 minutes to install WordPress without all the crap plugins and turn off all the crap blog things so you don't look like a spam footprint. And don't put it at /blog either. If you're starting new, don't put it at /blog either. Just have everything come off the root. Or if you need to have a directory, make sure it's some directory that has something to do with what you were selling. Like, not articles. Everyone says, well, what if I call it articles? Yes, everybody calls it /articles. So Google knows that's a synonym for blog. Don't do that, right? Again, if it exists and you're at /blog and you have rankings, don't change it. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if you're starting new, make sure you don't look like Google has to process like in the neighborhood of trillions of spam pages every year, and every single one of them is a default WordPress install with the blog rules and the tag categories and all that bullshit at /blog, right? So don't make yourself look like a spam footprint, would be another really great suggestion. And build both. You can build both up at the same time. And then if Google likes one and doesn't like the other, 301 that one to the other one.
Perfect. Okay, so let's wrap this up. We talked about the fact that SEO is not dead. We talked about traffic. We talked about pricing. We talked about whether or not you should live or die with a new site. And is there anything I should have asked you that might have escaped my, let's just say, almost jaw-like brain that collapses down with ideas immediately on things that you have in your head? Did I miss something that was so obvious, or something that you should have asked or responded to that maybe is important to this conversation?
It's a very self-serving question for me that you didn't ask, and is, do I have any coupon discounts for your listeners? And the answer is yes. I have 25% off coupon discounts for all of your listeners on our main flagship product, SEO Copilot. All they have to do is email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com and say, hey, I saw you on Matt Coffey's show, and I want the 25% discount, and I'd be happy to hand them out. They're limited. There's only 15 left. So the first 15 people who email me, I can give you a 25% discount, and you can see how the AI works for yourself. It really is a new age. We're going to see AI in everything, right? But I'm happy to say that this is one of the first, I think, AI tools that actually is worth using complex, what it's called chain of thought ideation, to actually think like an SEO consultant. I was actually able to use my graduate work of psychology. I'm like, wow, I never thought I'd ever get to use this, but I did. I got to put it in there. And it's thinking on a higher level, and it's called CP. That's the name I called it, short for Copilot. And it's also the chatbot that helps you do SEO. It explains to you, but also builds it through a normal UX tool. I think it's quite revolutionary, and I think your listeners are going to love it.
Thank you, Josh. And again, I have, just for people who are watching or listening this, for you, the listener, Josh and I have worked for a long time together. And I'm talking like stuff back when the book with the hummingbird was on it that we were talking about. And so Josh would only know that framework because it's probably still stuck in his library at some point. And so if you are an SEO, let's say jockey, just because I think that term is still part of our vernacular in the marketing/business world, this is the guy. And if you want some help, please reach out to him. And I am looking forward to seeing what you come up with next in our next installment. So we'll catch up at some point in some further time down the road for a 2025 discussion.
Awesome.
And thank you, Josh, for joining me.
Thanks, Matt.